brief at the beginning of the week, and I've sort of had myself thinking about it. I think it's very relevant in architectural education, but also in terms of what's happening in the greater world at the moment. What is architecture and ethics? What are architectural ethics? Why do we need ethics? Why do we need reasons or justifications for our design? Is theory a justification? What are we investigating when we're doing architecture? Are we just investigating architecture? Does theory restrict or enable architecture? I think too often, I see in a design class when I'm teaching, I see too often theory is used almost to justify what work's being done, and it gets forgotten, and it's sort of often not so well integrated. It's often used in the place of intuition. We often use theory to justify something you've done intuitively. There's a value perhaps in craft, a value in intuition. Is theory actually different than craft? Is it actually separate? Are they the same thing? Is design necessarily a material investigation? At the same time, we often, when we judge projects, we think about the intention of the project. But does this intention really constitute the ethics of the project? Do these really tell you whether or not it's a good or bad project? Good intentions, or whether or not you've followed your intentions? Why do we create theory? I think at times it could be seen as a space for making things. Perhaps a space for thinking. We create theory so we can think. Perhaps it's a space for occupying, so we can occupy thought. We can create our own thought. In the same way, maybe making design is the same thing. It's making a structure which we can occupy. It's making a framework, but at the same time, it does a violence. It makes space. It's almost a violence against the order that's outside, creating its own order. If theory, often we think of theory as writing. Is it necessarily? What is the material of theory? Is it actually text all the time? Is it text? Is it the making? I think about theory as often a mode to brainstorm, something to do. Often it's been said that writing is a form of thinking. And this ethic, who judges a project? Who is it? Who's judging it in the end? Is it the architect? Is it architects judging architecture? Who really actually contributes to the architecture? Is it the architect, or is it those who are occupying it? Maybe theory is a way for us as architects to connect with non-architects, but perhaps to connect with the world that's not architecture. So theory might be non-architectural. I wonder though, if we use theory to hold up our projects quite often, is this perhaps also a pattern that's creating the paradigm that we have today, this environmental disasters that we're seeing, that we've created reasons for the things that we do. We've created economic rationalism or things like this, to actually justify what we do. Are we really engaging with what's happening in an everyday way? Sometimes I think theory, in a way, it's almost a utopia, and what it's creating, it seems, is a dystopia now today. It's a separation from what actually is theory. Could it be? But then what is architecture? Often gets asked all the time, I think. How is it occupied? And who occupies it? If you occupy architecture in a certain way, then what happens? What are the ramifications of that? I think theory can be a projecting space, a testing ground. Often I don't think we can really test things in a real material way when we're designing. And maybe theory allows us that space. Design, in a way, is almost a utopia. You're in a mindset, and you need that space to be able to create within it. But maybe it actually is limited because of its resources, because of time, and because of money, and because of the economy of materiality. Theory maybe allows us to connect to other things. Okay, just as a slightly aside, let's take, for example, a petrol station. What is a petrol station? These sound like theoretical questions. Is a petrol station the problem? Is that really the problem that we're seeing in the world today? Is it? Or is it an expression of a problem? What is it? What is a petrol station? Is it on the same level as a car? Or is it just part of a whole bunch of different things that are networked together? Cars, or anti-urbanism maybe, or the suburbs, or peak oil, or climate change. Are these all connected? Is the service station the top of the chain? What does it actually mean in terms of how our cities are laid out? What does it create? Does it create shopping centres? Do shopping centres create petrol stations? Do they create shopping bags? Do shopping bags create shopping centres which create petrol stations? Do we get garages at the front of our houses because of petrol stations? I guess theory allows us new territory to think. And instead of always thinking about all the different things that are connected to the paradigm that we're in, maybe we can imagine another paradigm, just for a moment. And then maybe that's where it's actually a positive thing that can enable us and not necessarily limit us or judge what we do. Maybe it actually allows us to project ourselves into perhaps paradigms that don't quite exist. Here we go. I think design can be something that is about positive development, and I think that the theory is something that can enable us. Okay, thanks.